All right, greetings from Las Vegas. Hopefully, everyone is doing great. This is day 8 for me in Las Vegas. Here, we've got Sports Business Classroom going on. We've knocked it out of the park so far, and we've got a couple more days left of great programming that we have available. But we are here to talk about the Bradley Beal buyout and waiver, and then stretch, and kind of how it impacts Phoenix and certainly the Clippers, who he has in principle agreed to sign with the Clippers once he clears waivers. I think the most important thing is that this situation, although Beal's money will be waived and stretched, the Suns have until August 31st to do it, is different than the Damian Lillard situation in Milwaukee, where Lillard was waived and stretched. However, he did not go through the buyout process here. And why that was allowed was because by doing it, Milwaukee was not exceeding the 15% amount you're capped at as far as from the waive and stretch dead money. You're not allowed to exceed 15% of the salary cap in stretched money. And with Lillard in Milwaukee, by doing it, that did not exceed that. In the situation of Bradley Beal had a lot of control over the situation. He basically could have said, "Nope, I'm not doing anything here." Because Phoenix already had roughly $4 million in dead money with Nasir Little and EJ Liddell, Beal had to take roughly $13.9 million and reduce the $111 million that he's owed, and then stretch that amount. And then you get right to that 15%. So in the end, if Beal does not take the buyout, he is still on the roster in Phoenix. I'm just pulling up my notes here. The buyout, as we said, he has 2 years left. He had 2 years left on his contract. No trade now goes away. You take the 2 years and you multiply it by two. Don't ask me why we have these formula. You multiply it by two, and then you add one. The amount of the owed amount, I'm pulling it up, is then stretched over 5 seasons. In the case of Bradley Beal, it's roughly $19.4 million. That money will sit on your books for the next 5 years. There is no set off because this is a buyout. So that money is there for the next 5 years. As I said, Phoenix has up until August 31st to go about waiving. As far as stretching him, I would say it is highly likely that is going to be the case. You don't do a buyout and a stretch, and then not basically stretch that money out. For Phoenix, welcome back to NBA reality. Welcome back out of financial purgatory. We put a chart up. It basically now unlocks a lot of things, and I know the dead money is going to be sitting there. You were 32 million over the luxury tax. You had a $176 million tax penalty. You were repeater tax. You were over the apron. You were over the second apron. 26 and 14. Now, what has happened? Voila. You are now a little bit under the luxury tax. The likelihood is that you'll probably go over. Remember, that doesn't get calculated until after the season. You have no tax penalty for now. You are $8.6 million below the apron one, and almost $21 million below the second apron. You are now have the ability to use more than 100% of your traded player exception, take back more money in a deal, as long as the post-transactional salary does not exceed the cap. You now have, congratulations, you have the ability to aggregate contracts, which is something you did not have. You can use up to roughly 8.6 million of your non-tax mid-level exception. Remember, if you use more than 5.7, that hard caps you at the first apron. If you don't want to get hard capped at the first apron, you do have the ability to sign a player to the $5.7 million tax mid-level exception. You are in as I said, financial purgatory. You are in a position where basically had one door open. Now this opens up 5 more doors as far as from a flexibility standpoint. You can go out and try to get a player in a sign and trade, and you still have the flexibility as long as you stay below that first apron. That is the good news. Here's a little bit. We talked about the first round pick, sorry. Your first round pick in 2032 remains frozen. Okay, that is because you finished over the second apron in 2024-25. How that becomes unfrozen is basically you're going to have to wait about 3 years. If you finish under the second apron in 25, 26, 26, 27, and 27, 28, or 3 out of the 4 salary cap years, Your 32 pick becomes unfrozen. That would be the first year it would trigger, it would be in 2028. So you are still operating, however, that your pick is now that is still frozen here. Remember, we work in a 7-year window as far as from a draft pick perspective here. So that is it in Phoenix here. Certainly, as we said, opens up the flexibility as far as how you are able to operate, but you do incur that dead money here. We have an Apron piece up on ESPN. It's called The Education of the Apron. And there's a reason why Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, Porzingis, and Drew Holiday have all been waived or traded or bought out because all these teams kind of jumped ahead of the line before these new rules started in 2023 offseason and are now paying the consequences as a result of that. And you can also go in there and read about Oklahoma City, Denver, Orlando, Houston, New York. I think it's a really enlightening piece. Certainly, we go into depth on the Thunder as far as where they are positionally, which is in really good shape. We certainly have done a lot on the Apron, but I would go on ESPN.com. As far as the Clips, the Clips. So they had $5.3 million left of their non-taxman level exception. Remember, roughly 8.8 of that was used on Brook Lopez. They are using that to sign Bradley Beal to a 2-year deal with a player option in year 2. He could become a free agent in a better marketplace next offseason. It's going to be interesting because we're going to get to a point in February where people are going to be like, man, that Bradley Beal contract at $5 million, that's a great value here. When you look at certainly a lot of interchangeable parts as far as where the Clippers are, when you can go Harden, Beal, Leonard, Collins, Zubac, and then you have Bogdanovic, Christie, Dunn as your backcourt. You still have Nick Batum and Derek Jones and Brook Lopez. This team has certainly, my Zoom just lost. This Clipper team has certainly got, here we are. This Clipper team has certainly gotten better in this offseason here. They are roughly $4 million below the first Apron. They are still in pretty good position here moving forward. And they do have flexibility to add a player there. So that is kind of a little bit of the wave and stretch provision. I'm going on NBA TV and I keep on saying NBA TV, NBA Today in about 25 minutes. You can watch. We've got that great article up on educating the Apron. We'll probably do a video on it down the road. But that is it. Hopefully everyone is great, and we will talk soon. NBA,